Okay, we're live.
Mm-hmm.
Stream has started. Everything looks good. Let me close this window right here. Okay, just got a notification. We're live. A notification as well. Okay, how's everyone doing? Guys, I am currently in an airport. I just landed. So I'm in a coffee shop. So if you hear the coffee machine operating or anything like that, I'll be muting myself in and out. And I'll try to keep things as quiet as possible. I'm using the MacBook camera and speaker as a mic. So anyway, let's get rolling. We'll do about 30 minutes. Is that all right, guys?
Yep, absolutely.
About a 30-minute live stream on Super Tuesday. I have with me host of RT's Crosstalk, Mr. Peter Lavelle. Peter, how are you doing in Moscow?
Very well, still absorbing the events of yesterday.
All right, and we have in London, the Oracle of London, Mr. Alexander McCurse. Alexander, how are you?
I'm very well, dashing from one thing to another, but other than that, actually extremely well.
Yeah, we tried to do a morning stream, guys, and we apologize for what happened.
Oh, I hear a latte.
Yeah, exactly. We got to the preview part of the YouTube stream, and all three of us were on here, and we kept on trying to get through the preview, and it wasn't letting us go through. We tried StreamYard, we tried Zoom, we tried OBC. We couldn't get live for some reason. YouTube wasn't letting us through, and the message they were giving me was some random weird message, which I would put in Google, and it wouldn't tell me anything. So we just had to exit that live stream. There's like 140 people waiting, which kind of sucked.
Yeah.
But anyway, look, I've got my 4G here on my mobile, and we wanted to get this news to you guys because
absolutely
it was a shocking Tuesday. It was a super Tuesday, but a shocking Tuesday.
Yeah.
So Peter, it was a great day for Hillary Clinton and Barack Obama.
No,
Go ahead, Peter.
No, okay.
I'm going to give you myself. So
yeah,
go ahead.
you and I go back and forth on this. I mean, in a way, you're absolutely right. Okay, but the I would frame it differently. Is that the Democratic Party establishment and their media appliant media partners they started putting calling in favors and probably making threats. Okay, this was like the 48 hours preceding the Super Tuesday primaries was the night of the long knives. Okay, you had Buttigieg, you had Klobuchar, falling to the sway side of Biden. Beto made a cameo appearance. Though this was all done through the DNC. Okay, and finally Barack Obama indirectly through one of his surrogates basically gave Joe the tap. This has nothing to do with Joe Biden, really, and nothing. You know what? All the coverage over the last, let's say now 72 hours, Joe Biden hasn't changed, folks. He's still Joe Biden. Okay, the guy that can't string sentences together. So, I mean, what has changed is the media, the framing of the media story has changed. Yes, okay, and that's really probably the most important thing. But Joe Biden hasn't changed. His campaign really hasn't changed. I forgot that, to mention Pete Buttigieg with his wine cave and his billionaire friends are going to start ferreting money to the Biden campaign. The thing that upset me a lot, I thought was very interesting, is that losing Texas. I mean, for me, it was how much he was going to win by. And Minnesota, that was shocking. And Massachusetts, that's shocking. Now, like Alabama and Tennessee and all that, okay, they're going to go, they're going to vote Republican anyway. So how a Democrat does in a southern state, a red state, that's of marginal interest to me because that's not a game changer. But it was the Minnesota and Massachusetts that just really, I was stunned this morning when I read it. We have the hour changes, but let's keep our eyes on the ball here. Joe Biden has not changed. He's still the same bumbling guy. All right, number one. Another interesting part of this story is Elizabeth Warren, and what a terrible figure she is. She is the ultimate spoiler. And that's the reason why she's staying in the race, is to funnel, move votes away from Bernie, because essentially they come from the same wheelhouse, at least nominally speaking, until she absorbed wokeism and destroyed her campaign. She's really the biggest disappointment in this whole campaign, because she's not a stupid person, but she acted in a very, very vile way, and she continues to do so. She sent out a press release asking for more money for the next 10 primaries. Okay, so she's going to remain the spoiler. So much more to say, but I'm going to pass the baton over to Alexander McIris.
Well, can I just
Alexander, very quickly, you also sent us news that Bloomberg has now he's dropped out and he's endorsed Biden. Correct?
Absolutely, that's exactly right. I mean, everybody has pulled out apart from Elizabeth Warren, and it's actually fascinating to see what Donald Trump has been saying about Warren. And can I just read it, because it follows directly from what Peter has been saying. It reads as follows: the Democrat establishment came together and crushed Bernie Sanders again. Even the fact that Elizabeth Warren stayed in the race was devastating to Bernie and allowed Sleepy Joe to unthinkably win Massachusetts. So selfish for Warren to stay in the race. She has zero chance of even coming close to winning, but hurts Bernie badly. So much for their wonderful liberal friendship. Will he ever speak to her again? She cost him Massachusetts and came in third. He shouldn't. If Elizabeth Warren wasn't in the race, Bernie Sanders would have easily won Massachusetts, Minnesota, and Texas, not to mention various other states. Our modern-day Pocahontas won't go down in history as a winner, but she may very well go down as the all-time great spoiler. So that was what Donald Trump had to say about Elizabeth Warren. If she stays on, well, clearly, she is a spoiler, just as Peter said she was, and just as Donald Trump, who is a obviously very insightful follower of these events, says she is. Can I just add something about Obama? I understand that Obama has been very active behind the scenes. ABC apparently says that he actually telephoned Buttigieg after South Carolina to get him to stand down. I have no doubt at all that he's been lobbying people like I can't get a name.
Klobuchar.
Exactly, to get her to stand down. Also, it was clearly the Democratic Party establishment mobilizing to get every single vote, especially the African American vote, which is clearly highly mobilized to stop Sanders in his tracks. And they succeeded. They've achieved it. Extraordinary for me to think that African Americans are now the establishment pillar of the Democratic National Committee. I mean, that is such a reversal from what used to be the case in the 60s and 70s.
Well, and particularly since Joe has a deplorable civil rights record. I mean, really deplorable.
And Bernie has a stellar one. I mean, he really was involved in the civil
but let's take a step back and look at what's wrong. It's obvious the Bernie Sanders campaign took their eye off the ball after South Carolina and focusing all their attention on Bloomberg, which was a big mistake.
Yes.
Big mistake.
Yes.
And the fact that the media is the comeback kid and all this, I mean, this is also coordinated. Okay, I mean, for those, I suppose it's kind of a nonsensical thing to mention on our podcast or even my program Crosstalk, but how many of our viewers actually watch CNN and MSNBC? Do they ever show any of Joe's gaffes? Never. Okay. They're not showing who he really is and what kind of state of mind he has right now. The most important takeaway from Super Tuesday, it has nothing to do with Joe Biden, okay? He's an epiphenomenon. He's an afterthought to all of this. But this is the war on Bernie. Now, fine. Kudos to this Night of the Long Knives. They pulled it off. But to what end? To what end? Okay, I'll tell you what's going to happen. If they succeed in pulling this off, Bernie Sanders voters will not go to the polls, and some of them will vote for Trump. This is a catastrophe for the Democratic Party. And you have the spoilers like Liz Warren keeping it up here. I mean, this is all, and the media loves it because they're going to make a lot of money off of this, okay? Because this tension in the war within the party. I mean, they love it because it's entertainment for them and it's bottom line dollars for them. But the more they drag this out here, the more they're destroying their party. I mean, Donald Trump is going to skate to victory if Joe Biden is the nominee. With Bernie Sanders, it will be more of a fight, and it would be asymmetrical. It would be a very, what should have happened in 2016, by the way. But if they're going to deny it again, they're going to destroy their party, and they're in the process of doing it. Now, you look at the moral fiber of how this all came about. Buttigieg, okay, he caved, okay. He's promised 2024, don't worry, we got all the advisors you need. We're going to keep our eye on you. Fine. Klobuchar, don't worry. You're going to get a high-level position in the Biden administration. I think Elizabeth Warren will get nothing out of this, and she won't be reelected. She's going to be the biggest loser out of this, which she's the smartest one of the pack. How do the twists and turns of history? Even Beto, maybe they'll let him be, run the Coast Guard or something, something where, well, actually the Coast Guard is kind of important. I have to think of a much less important position for Beto, okay? But I mean, this is all the collusion in the background, all the quid pro quos, it's all happening in the Democratic Party, the DNC, then the media. And of course, as we started out here, we have Obama and the Clinton syndicates pulling strings, but and that's backroom politics. That happens all of the time. But for all of their transparency and diversity and wokeness, they end up with Joe.
Come on, Alexander. Do you honestly believe that Joe Biden is going to be the nominee? He's going to actually have a chance at being president. Joe Biden, the guy that smells little children's hair.
Who else then? Alex, I throw it back to you then. Then who?
Yeah, I mean,
the guy that's involved in Ukraine Gate. Hunter Biden is now a painter. Hunter Biden's now a painter in Los Angeles, according to a New York Times article.
Yes.
I agree with Peter. I think this is theater. The whole thing, I think, is theater. And I think that Hillary Clinton and Obama, the Obama machine and the Clinton machine, are back in business, even for another year or two. They're back in business.
Absolutely. I mean, this is machine politics in operation. As I said, we got the Black American, the African American vote mobilized. Apparently, all the the people who run the churches in the southern states were mobilized very fast in South Carolina and elsewhere. We got all the people standing down. There were, as Peter says, threats made. There were inducements given, and it was done very fast, and I have to say very efficiently. Very efficiently. It's still worth pointing out, I think, that if Bernie has won California, as I believe he has, then he's probably got the most delegates out of Super.
No, it's a dead heat. It's essentially dead heat.
Dead heat. So, okay, right. So, I mean, he's not completely out. So, brokered convention, possibly.
Well, let me give you
angry people in the angry people, but angry Bernie supporters, definitely. But split party, also definitely, it seems to me.
Let me give you my theory about all of this, the whole meta history of this right now. This is the prehistory of post 2020 election. You hear it here first, okay? The prehistory of the post 2020 election. I like the sound of that. They're willing to lose. The Democrats are willing to lose this election with Biden running it. They're willing to lose to Trump because if Bernie were to run, he could win. He could. I mean, Trump won in 2016, so nobody can say it's impossible. He won. Bernie would have a chance, but you know what? He won't bring the Clintonites and the Obamaites and all these other deep state, degenerate state actors with him. He will bring in a totally different team. See, if they lose in November, the gravy train continues. They're in opposition, okay? Nothing really changes. And plus 4 more years of impeaching Trump.
Back
I mean, God, think of all, it's good business. Yeah. It's a business model for them because they have no moral compass whatsoever, okay? None. It's a business. It's a lifestyle for them. So, they're saying, the party is rallying around Joe. No, they're rallying around the status quo. They wanted to continue. And Trump is a wonderful foil for them. We get this 24/7, the war, Trump's war with the media, Trump's war with the establishment. The establishment loves this war. It keeps them in business, keeps them busy, and it keeps them at the feeding trough. Joe Biden, by getting behind him, they're just they're going to just be thinking about 2020, or really what they'll think about, and I think this would be more serious, is the downstream tickets. They're going to be looking at the Senate and the House, okay? Because if the Republicans continue in the Senate the way they do, Trump will have completely, after 8 years, remade the entire judiciary in the United States, okay? That's something that they'll be thinking about here. But don't be fooled by this, MSNBC and CNN, all their graphics, in the trench warfare, boom, 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 all their bells and whistles. I think they by going with Biden, it solves all of their problems, because you take off the board the Bernie threat. Okay, Biden will go through the motions. He probably doesn't even know he's running for president. Okay, and that's the way they want it. Okay, I look at it this way, because I think they've written off 2020, the presidential election. I think they've written it off, and they're going to go through the motions. How many tens, hundreds of millions of dollars will be spent on this pretend campaign? Everybody goes to the bank. Okay, I'm not convinced that they're serious.
It's so like what happened in Britain with Corbyn, that the Blairites and the Labour Party would far rather Labour lost than have Corbyn win. And they worked very hard in 2017 and in the run-up to the 2019 election to make it impossible for Corbyn to win. So it seems to me very similar, actually, and very similar people. Carry on, Alex, sorry.
Alexander, I was going to ask you, Alexander, and Peter, a question as well to both of you guys. Bernie blew this. I mean, this was his campaign to lose, and he lost it. And I think he lost it, and I want you guys to elaborate, and I think you know where I'm going with this. He lost it because of his weakness. He messed up in 2016 when he supported Hillary Clinton, who stole the election from him. But this year, he messed it up with his weakness and buying into the entire Russia did it stuff and the Russia hoax and not fighting back. That's where I think he lost.
Well, I think for us, the Russia hoax things, I don't think that's percolated down into the electorate. But I think thinking people in looking at that hoax have come up to the same conclusion. I think Max Blumenthal, Aaron Mate, Jimmy Dore, a number of other people have done some really good stuff on that, including us, which we don't ever get much credit for. We should. I think his mistake is he doesn't fight back, and he doesn't have that in his genetic code for some reason. Okay, Joe's a good guy, he's my friend, all that. No, I mean, I don't think you have to go negative and dirty. I mean, but just look at the guy's record. I mean, just look at his record. That's enough. There's more than enough out there to go after. And I think that Bernie is going to have to do that. And I'll tell you why I think he might do it is because his base, they're wound up. Okay, and they're going to want him to start standing up. And we've seen this a number of times. Remember how he has a reaction to the quote unquote Joe Rogan endorsement, which wasn't an endorsement. He said, "I like Bernie." Okay, I've never, at least my understanding of the English language, that's not an endorsement. Okay, but he didn't even deal with that one very well. He didn't deal with Warren very well. He should have just gone out there and said, "Let's get the record straight here." Okay. But he didn't do that either. No. And I think that there was a bit of hubris on their part 24 hours before the polls opened. They had their eye on off the ball and looking too much at Bloomberg. So I think that they allowed themselves to be caught off guard. And in retrospect, I think we should have all expected the night of the long knives to happen. I mean, these people mobilized, but I like Alexander McCarris. I was really surprised how well they were able to do it so quickly. Okay, maybe this was something that was planned weeks and months ago, and then they turned the key on it. History will tell us. Okay, but this was Bernie's to lose, and for all the talk of his ground game and donations and all that, no, you can't take your eye off the ball. And what they were doing, they were focusing less on their own campaign than they were on other campaigns. Cardinal mistake running a campaign.
Absolutely. I mean, I think that Bernie is a very nice person, and nice people don't win in politics. I mean, that's been a consistent story that I've seen throughout the time I've been following politics. And he doesn't fight back. He doesn't have that kind of ruthlessness and that toughness that you do need if you're going to make an impression, he should have gone after Elizabeth Warren much harder than he did. He should have gone after Joe Biden much harder than he did. He should have pulverized Bloomberg, and he should not have given any red meat on the Russiagate hoax to his enemies. He should have come along and said, how dare you make these kind of insinuations?
He should have said, have you read the Mueller report?
Have you read that? Well, exactly.
And leave it at that. Have you read the Mueller report?
Does that not indicate, though, Alexander Peter, that Bernie, okay, he's a nice guy, but he's also dishonest? I mean, well, he's jerking people around by actually, he knows the Russiagate
absolutely
thing is a hoax. He knows it.
I don't think it makes him a liar. I think it makes him weak.
Not a liar. It makes him weak. It makes him weak, and it makes him look.
Well,
I don't have a word on this. It just makes him look disingenuous.
Weak people
jerking people around like Trump would have never done that.
Yeah. Okay, but I think I can explain. I think this why is that Bernie Sanders is a domestic politics guy. Okay, I mean through and through, and and we may agree or disagree with him. I, for the most part, disagree with him. But he's a policy wonk. He knows what he's talking about. He's not a foreign policy guy, and he knows in the halls of power and the corridors of power in Washington that you cannot break from the bipartisan foreign policy agenda. And I think that's why it's his way to pivot away from it, because he saw, what was it, Chuck Schumer, the CIA has six ways to Sunday to go after you. He knows that, okay? So he doesn't want to put all of his eggs in one basket and really irritate the establishment to the point where, they're going to do the same thing to him as they did to Trump. I think he wants to avoid that. And he does that at his peril, because I think that by avoiding it, he actually put himself into that situation, because somewhere down the line, they're going to say, but you said, and then these people say, the Vindmans say, Fiona Hill says, and then we go through this whole circle jerk again, okay? But it's an error. It was an unforced error on his part. He could have easily pivoted away from that, because Bloomberg looked like a child. So and not only is he the height of a child, his delivery was the equivalent of a child, and Bernie fell for it when every other question he can handle well.
Absolutely. Well, I mean, you don't throw red meat to a wolf, which is what I think Bernie did. They will come back against him on this, and he's given them grounds to do so, because he's essentially conceded their argument. I don't think that it's a good policy to go along with these absurd stories, especially after the Mueller report. And in my opinion, it does make Bernie look weak and evasive and shifty, when the very last thing he needs to look is that, when he's proposing a radical program for transformative change. A person who's going to, carry out transform America needs to look strong, and he didn't look strong.
Okay, the interesting thing too is that, I don't want to go too much into the weeds, but there's a demographic where Bernie is very weak and he really has to work on, and that's suburban voters, particularly suburban women. And research and data say that this demographic likes to vote for a winner. So here we go with the media again, where they start portraying Joe as the comeback kid. And if in fact he is the comeback kid, this is not. It's unprecedented. It's
Joe.
Yeah, I mean, I've never seen anything like it, and it's all artificial. Like I said, it's not about Joe Biden. Okay, it's about machine politics. Yes. That's what this is all about. And the media is in on it, up to their neck in it, all right? So what Bernie needs to do, he needs to start refining his message. Again, I'm a conservative, okay? And I look at this more as a kind of, academic exercise in all of this. And I can say that Bernie's campaign is well staffed. He's got the groundwork done, everything. But his message has got to be a lot more specific to a demographic that is very important to him. Because if the media says Joe's a winner, that demographic goes, well, he's a winner, and I want to vote for a winner. All right, and that's a trap that he's allowing to happen. And he has to go out there and one thing that Bernie needs to do, and I think that and I'm going to say the term, and not in a derisive way, but Bernie bros. Hey, Bernie bros, you need friends. You need to reach out a little bit more, because you have this siege mentality, and it's justified to a certain degree here. But you have to show that you're more inclusive. You know, having a few more endorsements and this and that. You know, to give the sense that this is a movement that is very broad and not something that is narrow, and people that have a energy, if not negative energy. I can't tell you how many people supported Bernie in 2016 are still, they're seething with anger, because they didn't like Trump, and they say that they could have had it. And you know what? Who knows? Maybe he could have. And so don't make the same mistake twice, because it's, you know, these kind of mistakes are never forgiven.
Peter, I don't think Bernie Sanders is going to follow your excellent advice, because I don't think he has the temperament or personality to do it. And I don't think he's going to have the personality or temperament to discipline his supporters either. I think, I've been following Bernie Sanders now. I have goodwill towards him.
I do too.
I have genuine goodwill towards him, but I just don't think he's going to pull it together. I think what we saw happen over the last 48 hours is emblematic of why Bernie is always going to lose. He lost in 2016, even though he had all the momentum and support behind him, and he wasn't prepared to stand up to the DNC and to Hillary Clinton and to all of those people. And it seems to me it's going to be exactly the same.
He should have done, you know what he should have done? He should have pulled a Trump, and he says, if you're going to do this, I'm going to blow this place apart. And he would have done it. And you know what? But this time round, it's not going to be Bernie that's going to blow up the place. It's going to be his supporters, because they will not vote for Joe Biden. There's no way that's going to, no way.
No.
There's no way you can sweet talk these people. You stole it from us once, you're going to do it again?
No.
Because you guys are the enemy. You are our enemy. You're the enemy against our agenda. That's exactly how they're going to frame it. There's going to be no forgiveness. There's not going to be sitting down in kumbaya. No, that's not going to happen. And that is the tradition. That is the tradition, because, you know, primaries are always a bit nasty. Okay, that's the whole point of them. Okay, but there's not going to be a sit down. There's not going to be a sit down after all of this. I mean, Bernie might, but then his followers will leave him. They will leave him. And there won't be many second thoughts.
No, well, we're already seeing how Donald Trump is already making use of this. He's already talking about how the Democratic Party is stealing the nomination from Bernie Sanders. He's already going after Elizabeth Warren. He's already homing in on these precise anger of potential Bernie supporters.
Let's be careful. I think it was stolen from him in 2016, because the Podesta emails show that, demonstrated beyond a doubt. Let's use the term for the time being.
Okay.
They're denying him.
Denying him.
They're using procedures right now. They're using procedures.
Indeed. And one should say, I mean, there's no evidence that they've done anything irregular, putting aside Iowa, which is, of course, an extraordinary story. But, whatever, he is homing in on the fact that the Democratic Party establishment, Trump is homing in on the fact, the Democratic Party establishment is ganging up against Sanders, and he's going to use that to the greatest extent that he can to peel away Bernie supporters from whichever candidate the DNC puts up against him in November. That's already his tactic. It's quite clear.
But think about it, even before we get there, just ponder this. Yeah. Look at the last few Democratic debates, because the field is so crowded, you don't get to say much, right? I mean, it's very short, and everybody looks for a zinger, and sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't, okay? This time, he's not going to have safety in numbers, not at all.
No.
What it's going to be? Who's going to be on the stage? Bloomberg's dropped out, so who's left? We have Warren, we have Biden, and we have Bernie. I mean, how do you think Biden is going to react to a real debate where he's actually going to have to say something? How many times does a candidate in debate say, "I think my time's up"? I mean, no one says that. No one says that, because he doesn't know what to say. I mean, the thing is that this has nothing to do with Joe Biden, because when you put him out on stage, if it's going to be one-on-one or there's going to be 3 candidates on that stage, he will be ravaged. I mean, ravaged. And it's good. And this is where the DNC, they're not very smart people. They're very greedy people, and they're people of very low moral standards. But, you know, have they thought this out? Do you think Joe can pull this off? You can't hide these things, okay? I mean, it's going to be played over and over and over again on YouTube, on the internet. The procedural strategy they have is brilliant. But at the end of the day, you got to put him up, and he's got to have to talk. And he can't even finish sentences right now, okay? I don't mean the man ill will, okay? But I mean, what they're putting him up to, it's going to be really embarrassing. And it's going to create even more conflict within the party, because people are going to say, we can't vote for someone that can't talk. And you know what? I mean, after 4 years of Donald Trump, has he aged at all? Has he changed at all? I mean, I remember Jimmy Carter when he was president. I mean, he left with white hair, with wrinkles. And Trump just seems to be going and enjoying the whole thing, okay? Joe doesn't have the stamina for this, and he doesn't have the intellectual authority or moral authority for this job here, okay? So, I mean, the fat lady has not sung. This thing is going to go on for a while. It should have been, a bow should have been tied on this yesterday. I'm sorry, it should have been done, and that's Bernie's fault.
Absolutely.
Bernie's gone. I think without, if Bernie had won Texas and a bunch of states on Super
and
Tuesday,
Massachusetts
and Massachusetts,
Minnesota.
yeah, but without an outright win in the delegates, it's either going to go to Biden or it's going to be a brokered convention, in which case it's going to go to Biden, in which case I think it's going to go to a different candidate. I still side with the A.J. Goodman theory that it's going to go to Hillary Clinton. I'm still there. I'm thinking everything.
Look. Anytime now, Stacey Abrams is going to be tapped for VP. Anytime now, okay?
Yeah, exactly. And I think going Bernie, I don't feel bad for Bernie. You reap what you sow. In 2016, he had a chance to start a revolution. He could have told Hillary Clinton, F off, I'm going to start my own party, and I'm going to stick it to the Dems. I'm going to stick it to them. Instead, he campaigned for her. 36 states he went to, and he campaigned hard. What did Hillary Clinton do? She badmouthed him.
Nobody likes him.
Yeah, for 3 years straight. And this time around, what does he do? He supports the Russiagate hoax. Like an idiot. Sorry, an idiot. He supports the Russiagate hoax. Sorry, you reap what you sow. He is getting exactly what he deserves. And I hate to say it because maybe he's a nice guy. He seems like he's a good guy, but he brought this on himself.
Oh,
okay,
absolutely. I completely agree.
There are no tears in politics, okay? So I agree with you in that respect, okay? However, you guys, it's not over yet, okay? Because there is the wild card, the joker in the deck. It's Joe himself, okay? He can't avoid these debates. He can't.
All right, guys. Well, what's next? What do you guys see is next? And then we'll do the super chats. What are the next steps? What do you see happening?
Well, we still have more primaries to go, which seems so incredible. But I think
play it out.
Yeah, I think Elizabeth Warren will come under a lot of pressure to pull out. Whether she will or not, we will see. But it doesn't look to me as if it's going to be a clear-cut Bernie win. And given that is so, I cannot see him gaining the Democratic Party's nomination to be the next president of the United States. So it will either be Joe Biden or it will be some other establishment candidate coming out of a brokered convention. I'm not going to try and guess who, but that's the way it looks to me.
It's difficult at this point here because we have to see what kind of postmortem the Sanders campaign is going to come up with here. The debates are going to be important. That's the only thing they can't in this stratagem. That's the only thing they can't control. Okay, at least I can't imagine that they think they can control it. So that's going to be a very interesting X factor here. What's really important is the media momentum, not the Biden momentum, the media momentum. And when you have the Klobuchars and the Buttigiegs and Michael Bloomberg, I mean, what did he demand in return? Huh? I mean, this is one of the most weird historic events. How I want the terms and conditions where I can spend hundreds of millions of dollars more, but I want to spend it my way. That's another interesting wild card in all of this. But money isn't going to be the problem now. It's not. Okay, that's a big, big plus for Biden. Now, what kind of ground game they have, I don't know. What they're going to angle on is the inevitability that the media will generate, which I tell you will alienate Bernie Sanders to no end. I mean, they will blow fuses, and so. They might get through the convention, but the party is going to burn itself to the ground. Mark my words. There's no unity after this. There's none. There can't be.
All right, let's get to the super chat. You have something to say, Alexander?
I just wanted to say I predict that Peter will be right, that many Bernie supporters will be incredibly angry, and that Bernie Sanders will campaign in November for whoever is the Democratic Party's candidate. He's going to do exactly what he did in 2016, because that is the kind of person he is. We saw that in 2016. We've seen this over the last few weeks.
Well said. Well said, guys. All right, let's get to the super chats here. Let's see. We have. Oh, by the way, thank you, Anne, for posting up the numbers of the people that are watching. We had about 1,200 people watching.
Oh, good.
Thank you very much, Anne.
Thanks, very good.
Short notice.
Alexander, Peter, I'm at a coffee shop without a magic mug. This coffee is awful.
Well, right, okay. Well, my tea is amazing, and I've got it in my magic mug.
Right.
So
Duran shop, everybody, help us out.
Absolutely.
All right, from Rico Gatto 549 euro super chat, just a heart emoji. Thank you very much, Rico, for that super chat. From Nigel 199, the Gaff brothers, Bojo and Sleepy Joe.
Very good.
There's a question mark there, so I don't know if he has Sleepy Joe with a question mark. So I don't know. I mean, yeah, he is Sleepy Joe.
He is pretty sleepy. Bojo is also. There's rumors, by the way, that he has a drink problem. And there's been some occasions where he's appeared rather, shall we say, rather less than focused.
Thank you, Nigel, for that super chat. From Sparky, $5 super chat. Establishment has Biden win to inoculate him and themselves against the Ukraine-Biden corruption investigation.
That's one angle.
Quote, political.
That's one angle. That's certainly one angle right there.
Yeah, absolutely.
All right. Thank you, Sparky, for that super chat. From Joe Brown, a $3 super chat with a thumbs up. Thank you very much, Joe Brown, for that super chat. From William, a $5 super chat. We like the Duran. Thank you, William, for that super chat. From Flying Boar, $5 super chat. Why Bernie running as a Democrat? And I don't take the guy seriously, especially on Venezuela, Russia, and he supported bombings in Belgrade. Yes, he did.
All true. All true. He's always wanted to be a part of the respectable mainstream. At the same time as he wants to be a democratic socialist, who's going to transform America. These are incompatible things.
Yeah, they've
never chosen between the one or the other.
Yeah, well, Bernie saw what they did to Tulsi.
Yeah.
Need I say more?
Well, indeed.
His foreign policy has always been a bit in the dark, hasn't it, Bernie Sanders?
Yeah.
Well, indeed.
It's been clear.
It is.
Certainly hasn't distinguished himself.
No.
Exactly.
No.
Exactly. From Sparky, a $5 super chat. Buttigieg and Klobuchar showed that they weren't serious candidates and were, quote, just following orders from the globalist establishment intel community.
No, they're test balloons. Okay, I mean, I don't know if that is in opposition to a serious candidate, but they were a test balloon from the corporate world to see if they would take off, and if they did, they'd still give them more money. And they didn't, and they gave them a call and said, "We're pulling your money, and we'll keep an eye on you. Thank you very much." Okay, they genuflect. Okay, that's what Elizabeth Warren has done. I mean, and she disgraces herself. She totally disgraces herself, and she deserved that humiliating loss in Massachusetts. Okay, look, she came into politics fighting big finance in a big way, and look what she transformed into. And it's only because of moral weakness, the love of power, hubris, nihilism. That's what politics does to you. That's why we stay out of it and talk about it.
All right. All right. From Valley S, a $20 super chat. Thank you very much, as always, Valley S. We appreciate it. And Spartan Warrior Queen is back moderating. Thank you very much, Spartan Warrior Queen. You are a lifesaver. Get in touch with me so I can thank you personally, Spartan Warrior Queen, for all the help that you provide us during the chats. From Sparky, $5 super chat. Amazing how many come out to vote for President Trump despite him running unopposed. Too bad they didn't vote Tulsi, then voted Trump in the general.
Yes. Yeah, absolutely.
Well, that's such a really good point, because Trump is doing extremely well in his primaries. I mean, because he's not contested, nobody really pays much attention to it. But if they did pay attention to it, it's a sign that the rank and file are right there, solid behind him.
Because he's a fighter, Peter. This is
He's
the difference between him and Bernie Sanders. Donald Trump has mobilized his base very effectively. Bernie Sanders is not a fighter in the same way, and he's paying the price.
The Bernie's base protects Bernie. They lead Bernie. Trump leads his base.
Yes,
I think that's Trump is a leader.
Fundamental difference. I completely agree.
Harry C. Smith, $5 super chat. This is a good comment. Tulsi got a delegate, so apparently that's qualified her for the next debate.
Indeed,
so. And
I think she got an American Samoa along with Bloomberg.
and as I understand it, the DNC is now frantically looking to change the rules so that she's not involved in the debates. So that tells you so much about the way in which the whole primary system run by the Democratic Party is controlled.
All right. From Neurosurgery Highland, the 1999 super chat. Thank you for that super chat. They are not going to run Biden. They are going to bring Hillary Clinton at the convention.
Well, we'll see.
We'll see.
I think the dog agrees. I think the dog heard Hillary Clinton.
Certainly does. Yes. Gosh.
All right, Joe Brown, $2 super chat. I can't wait for PDJT to chew Joe up and spit him out. Donald J. Trump. He will chew Joe up and spit him out if they get in a debate, I think.
Absolutely.
From Sparky. It's still worthwhile to support Tulsi. She needs her profile raised. She's anti-intervention and pro-Assange. It's a crime. She was blacked out by the MSM.
She's not pro-Assange.
Assange.
Okay.
Assange,
Okay. Yes, he is. Yes, I thought you said Assange. Okay.
Assange. Pro-Assange and anti-intervention.
Absolutely. Yes.
Absolutely. Sparky, great comment. We agree.
We agree.
From Indigo Jones, a $10 super chat. Will a Biden nomination, good question, will a Biden nomination derail the Barr, Durham, and Senate probes into FISA, Mueller, and Russia hoax? Ukraine, Burisma, Clinton email, Hunter Biden, Schiff, and his whistleblower.
Well, my sense is that Barr wants to finish this up before the election, irrespective if Trump is reelected. He wants to clear his desk by January. I think that's what Barr's mission is. His mission is to clean up the justice system and the FBI, and then he's done. So I think he wants to make sure that's done and dusted before he leaves.
I don't think there's enough time, Peter. That's my own personal view. I think the short answer is this. If Biden is nominated, it will not stop the Barr-Durham investigation. If the Democrats win the election in November, then the Barr-Durham investigation will be nowhere near complete at that point, and it will be over. It's simply not realistic to expect any action or any final report coming out in the time available. This needs at least a further year.
Even if the off chance that Bernie were to win, guys, I still think, say he was to win president, the Barr-Durham report would still be squashed.
I agree.
Only Trump can keep the Barr-Durham report.
No, I think that if it's a Democratic administration, they just want to clean the slate. Yeah.
Yes.
From Brian O'Callaghan, $10 super chat. Thank you very much, Brian, for that super chat. From Asavet MD, $10 super chat. Thank you very much, Asavet MD, for that super chat. We appreciate it. From Sparky, a $5 super chat. Reminder, Mike Pompeo, Gina Haspel, and Elliot Abrams still survive in a Trump administration. Do they still have him fooled? Question mark.
Well, good question.
Well, I think Pompeo is going to leave. He's going to run the Senate, so.
Yeah. I think that Donald Trump, if he's re-elected, the one thing he does need to do is to clear out all of these people. Apparently, there is a purge of some kind underway. He needs to extend it to people like the ones that has just been mentioned. Certainly, he needs to have someone completely different in charge of the CIA. The CIA is the source of all the trouble.
Yep.
Right. Correct. From BA, $5 super chat. Thoughts on Bernie offering Warren the VP spot to help change the media's narrative against Bernie, as Crystal Ball suggests?
Yeah, I just watched that. I thought it was really interesting that Sagar really kind of, it's very rare that he really pushes back against her, but he did on that one. I don't know. I just think that she's such a spoiled goods right now. I don't think she'd even take it either, because that would mean that she would have to genuflect and basically say what she's been doing is wrong. Bernie needs, I mean, everybody knows you don't vote for the vice president, okay? I mean, but I think somebody, Bernie, I think what Biden will do is pick Stacey Abrams, a black woman, an African-American woman. I think he's going to do something like that to outflank Bernie. I can't even imagine who the vice presidential pick would be for Bernie. I had never even thought about it until that question. But I don't think Bernie is going to make peace with Warren. I think this has to still be played out, because I think it's understood, the DNC it's understood with Warren that she's going to stay to the convention to maintain her spoiler status.
Okay.
Why would Bernie want to pick Warren when Warren is a loser and has been a consistent loser? I mean, I don't know.
That's a good point, but let's go back to demographics. Suburban educated white women love her. And that's a demographic that Bernie needs. It's interesting, okay? I mean, they truly adore her. She is a hero. She's a feminist hero. She's a woke hero. She's a woman, for God's sake, okay? They really like her. And that's why she wasn't able to go get any kind of critical mass, because she's so, by design or otherwise, the only demographic that reacted to her were suburbanite women.
Interesting. Okay, gosh.
All right. BA, $2 super chat. Michelle Obama at convention.
Oh, for sure. For sure. They have to have the royalty there, of course.
Of course.
All right. Asavet MD, $10 super chat. Thank you very much, Asavet, for that super chat again. From Sparky, Stacey Abrams is an empty vessel, just a creation of the establishment. Michelle Obama, though, not interested, is a better running mate choice.
I mean,
not interested.
I just can't see it. I mean, look, life is good. Why spoil it? I mean, really, life is good.
Martha's Vineyard.
Yeah, life is good.
All right, Neurosurgery Highland, $4.99 super chat. How about a coalition ticket? Carrie Romney at the Broken Convention. Carrie Romney.
Well, I mean, somebody once said to me that what the Democrats do is that they renominate Kerry all the time to be their candidate, and there is a lot of resemblance in some ways between Biden and Kerry.
Well, Biden is Clinton 2.0, just with a lot more, believe it or not, a lot more at least obvious corruption. Okay, and the guy, I don't want to be uncharitable, but the guy just isn't fit.
No.
He's not fit.
No.
Okay, from Leslie Burns, a $20 super chat. Love you guys. It's good to be able to hear other semi-old guys talk about things with experiential knowledge. Okay.
I'll take that as a compliment.
No, I think that's a compliment. All right, thank you, Leslie. Okay, from Asavet MD, another $10 super chat. Thank you again, Asavet MD, for that super chat. From Flying Boar, $5 super chat. Update on Idlib. Oh, let's get to that at the end. I'll get to that super chat at the end, Idlib, to close it out. From Jonathan Gillespie, Pompeo is not running for Senate, FYI. True.
Oh, okay, maybe that's something new, but I mean, that's what been widely circulated in the swamp. So I don't know. I'm willing to be stand corrected on that, but I haven't heard any news otherwise.
All right, we'll keep an eye on that. From Sparky, $5 super chat. Even my sister-in-law, a stereotypical HRC supporter, has soured on HRC 2.0. Elizabeth Warren, suburban white woman, no longer like her. Suburban white women no longer like her.
Well, with the accusation of misogyny against Bernie Sanders, yeah, a lot of women were turned off by that, definitely.
Okay, from
Against
Lord.
her.
Yes. Okay. Thank you, Sparky, for that super chat. From Lord Brett Sinclair. Alexander, going off topic, will the Tories go to war with civil service and the Supreme Court?
Yes, is the short answer. I mean, we already are seeing that the civil service and the government, the Conservative government, are essentially at war. We've seen the permanent secretary at the Home Office resign amid accusations of bullying. And I understand that there's a lot of people in the judiciary who are feeling extremely angry at the moment, and at the same time very insecure, as they get the impression that they have a government which is indeed antagonistic to them. And the government has certainly not forgotten that extraordinary Supreme Court decision that took place last year, where they overturned the prorogation of Parliament by Boris Johnson. So we will certainly see an awful lot more going on there. But of course, it's a battle that the Conservatives may want to fight, but they have lots of other things that may take priority over that. I mean, we've got all kinds of other things coming.
Okay, from BA $5 super chat. Would Tulsi be good for Bernie? Give him an edge he desperately needs. He would need her against Trump if he somehow wins.
I've heard people say that. I don't think it's going to happen.
Bernie's risk averse.
Yeah, exactly. I was going to say yes.
All right. From Harry C. Bernie's VP is Tulsi. That's always been the plan. They've been friends for at least 5 years.
Well, I would like to see that happen, but you know, it's what Peter said. He's very risk averse. I don't think he's going to do it. That's my own sense, anyway. Mm-hmm.
Okay, from Sparky, DNC will suddenly notice Biden's cognitive issues, and HRC will come in and save the day. From Sparky.
No one's
exclamation mark. Save
People
the day.
are not going to let that go. Look, you, Alex, you and I have talked about this from the very, very beginning. Okay, and I think it's a card in the deck, but it's not one that's going to be played anytime soon. I mean, we really would have to get down to a very, very chaotic convention. But it's the same thing. The Bernie supporters just won't vote. I mean, so it doesn't change. It doesn't move the needle. It doesn't move the needle. No, I mean, Hillary Clinton is adored by part of the population, and she is hated by a larger part of the population. And do you think Trump was going to mind having another go around? I don't think so at all. I don't think so at all. As a matter of fact, I think it will make him energized. Okay, I think Trump. It would be a fascinating election if Bernie were to get the nomination, which I think they're going to absolutely. That's what this whole conversation about is how to deny it. I don't think he's worried about Joe Biden at all. I don't think he's worried about Hillary Clinton. I wouldn't be.
All right, from Rory Fairs, 199 super chat. Biden will hand over his delegates to Hillary.
Well,
okay, yeah, because maybe Joe won't know what he's doing.
he thinks his wife is his sister. I think was his latest gaffe.
No,
right.
it gets down to the machinations of the DNC and the media. Okay, and look, you guys. I mean, what they've pulled off in the last 72 hours is a master stroke. I give them that. I seriously, you call balls and strikes. They got to strike, okay. But I mean, if they're going to be a machination to pull in Michelle Obama and Hillary Clinton, that you're going to have to do it in such a suave way to pull it off, because it's really crude, okay. It's really crude. So. The cognitive problems that Joe has is a variable in all of this. And I don't think we've ever really had anything like this before. I mean, remember, to some extent, it was Hillary, she was dehydrated and all of that. I mean, and I, on Crosstalk, I really wanted to stay away from it because I'm not a physician. I'm not a doctor, okay? But I mean, time and time again, Joe Biden last week thought he was running for senator.
Yeah, that was very strange.
Okay, from where am I? Indigo Jones. Hillary has been ordered to testify under oath for Judicial Watch. Can charges still be brought? If so, which ones? Good
question. Yes, is the short answer. I mean, this is all about the Hillary Clinton and I think Benghazi and all of those things. It's important to say there's never been a final Department of Justice decision on that because there's never been a proper investigation. So in theory, yes. Whether it will actually happen is another matter.
Okay, let's see. From Flying Board, Tulsi needs to leave the Democratic Party and join Republican Party.
Well, she's left. She's not up for re-election. She declined to run for re-election. I'm really curious of what her career strategy is right now. She's got good name recognition. I just don't know. I mean, she's young, she's vibrant, she's attractive, she's engaging. She's got a lot of things going for her, and she certainly has a segment of the population that really likes her a lot. Yes. I mean, whenever she speaks up, or I mean, she shows up on Tucker Carlson more than anything on the Democratic side. That's amazing. I think we all should watch her. Okay. Yes. And keep an eye on her. But I don't. She shouldn't. She wouldn't be welcomed in the Republican Party.
I agree.
Okay, from Shiva Varan, 1499 Super Chat. It's actually insane that most of us see Sleepy Joe and Hillary in the White House rather than prison. Firm signs we have been normalized to all this corruption and ineptitude.
Correct. I totally agree with that, actually. In fact, I read somewhere that there was an article somewhere which said, America's problem is not corruption because it's trying to downplay the significance of it. And it's absolutely true. It's been normalized to a disastrous extent in the US. And the interference in elections of the intelligence community. That this is something which people should be so worried about. And
quote unquote allies.
Allies, yeah.
Okay, from BA, $5 Super Chat. Thank you, fellas. He will be just like Corbyn. His going along with the bogus Russiagate narrative proves it's Tulsi 2024 is our only hope.
Yes, I mean, I don't know about Tulsi in 2024, but about Corbyn and Bernie Sanders, the parallels are astonishingly strong. I'm disappointed about this. I thought Bernie, there was more to him than that, actually.
There isn't.
Let's see.
From Sparky, $5 Super Chat. A chaotic convention is what the DNC is shooting for. Can't you tell?
Absolutely, I agree with that. I mean, I also think there's going to be severe problems with the Biden candidate. So it does beg the question of whether the DNC has a long-term plan, because I haven't expressed my view, but I think Biden is going to he'd be a disastrous candidate. He'd completely unravel. So do they really want to set him up against Trump?
Well, do they really want to set him up against a Bernie in a debate? Well, wait before we get to the general.
Yeah.
Okay, from Sparky, $2 Super Chat. Hope Tulsi replaces Pompeo. All right, that would be nice.
That would be very nice.
And from Indigo Jones, how can quid pro quo Joe even compete in a debate with Trump? And where's Hunter? Hunter is a painter now, by the way.
And if I may get my numbers wrong, but he's living in an apartment that the rent is $16,000 a month, and he's driving like a Ferrari or something like that.
Yeah, he's an artist. He's driving a Ferrari, has a new girlfriend, has a kid on, I think, a kid on the way, or sorry,
yeah, and he's apparently a deadbeat dad. So
exactly. All right, and the final super chat, guys, and we'll wrap it up. Is from Flying Boar, an update on Idlib. Also breaking news: U.S. is sending money to Syrian rebels.
Yeah,
great.
Unsurprising. Lots of fighting in Idlib, but the overall news, the overall picture seems to be that the military pendulum is still swinging very much in the Syrian army's favor. So they've recaptured Sarakim, they recaptured all the ground that they lost briefly in the south, and the jihadi rebels, backed by Turkey, have been losing heavily.
And Erdogan is scheduled to be in Moscow tomorrow.
Exactly. So he tried to improve his hand before these negotiations, but it seems it's failed. So we'll see. I think that Putin will be, there'll be a lot of very straight talking. Let's put it like that. That's what my expectation is, and I think there will be a ceasefire, and I think we will see an agreement between Turkey and Russia, but it will be on Russia's terms, not Turkey's.
All right. Hunter Picasso. I see the live stream.
Hunter Picasso.
Hunter Van Gogh.
Van Gogh.
All right. And from Sparky, a final super chat. And we'll
Yeah,
wrap it up.
and we know what Joe is paints. You know, he does gothic strippers. Okay.
I think Biden was smelling like another kid's hair or a baby's head the other day. What is up with that? It's just weird. Anyway, it's scary actually. Anyway, from Sparky, the last super chat, we'll wrap it up. Tulsi saw my Duran shirt. Do you know Alexander McCurris? ? All dreamy-eyed. She then asked, "What's he like?" ?
Oh,
Hey, you got to censor this. His wife is right next door.
well, indeed, I was going to say yes.
All right.
No meddling. No meddling.
No meddling.
That's right. All right, Sparky, thank you for that super chat. We'll wrap it up. Peter Lavelle, host of RT's Crosstalk in Moscow. Peter, thank you very much for joining us on this live stream. And Alexander Mercuris, thank you very much, Alexander, for joining us on this live stream as well. Thank you to everyone who joined us on this live stream. We apologize once again for the stream that we couldn't get up in the morning, but we got the news out to you guys. And Spartan Warrior Queen, please get in touch with me so I can thank you personally for all the help you're providing us as a moderator. And thank you, Anne, as well, for giving us all the numbers of the people that are watching. And thank you to everyone with the super chats and all the questions.
And all the questions. Marvelous questions.
Thank you, everybody. Take care.
Thank you.